Hello, Jim Townsend here again. You can get to my websites. I have websites at gentiledefenseleague.org, .net, and .com. My book is online at gentiledefenseleague.net. My website is at townsend.b, and my book is about how global bankers are using a system of forced religion and legislation in order to enslave us. Now, what I've done is I've put together a document that I call a written notice to public servants. It's a specific negative avowal of assumed authority. You see, this private legal system franchise operating under color and guise of law in our courts has a couple of legal artifices that it uses in order to attack you. One of them is assumption. Now, an assumption stands as a legal fiction. A legal fiction is a legal term. What it means is MRF and lie held out to be the truth so that we can use the court to play shoot fish in a barrel and financially rape you with the courts. Okay, so if you understand that the Constitution is the employment contract for the public, and the public is comprised of the government and civil service, and you understand that the process of trying to apply public rules and regulations on the private free citizens of the state is a crime against humanity known as slavery. You understand how these foreign corporations have come in, they've formed de facto unlawful governments under color and guise of law, and they're using their de facto courts to attack our local populations. They're using the courts in order to commit money crimes and to commit slavery, which is a crime against humanity. Nothing ever justifies crimes against humanity. Taxation is a crime against humanity. If a free man does not have the right to determine whether or not he pays taxes to a government, how does he constrain that government to its lawful venue? Okay, I wish to read out my written notice to public servants, and it's a specific negative avowal of assumed authority. Okay, this formal written introduction is a legal document. In order to be legal, it has to be written. If a police officer stops you, ask him for the written complaint. Okay, I won't interrupt myself here, I'll just read it through. This formal written introduction is a legal document. My name is Harry James Townsend, and note the proper case. It's not all capital letters. It's written properly as you learn the proper case to refer to a noun in school. I am a free man, of the species of man. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada on September the 8th, 1956. I am a private free man born in Canada. I am not a member of the public, and as such, public rules and regulations cannot be lawfully applied to me. Unless I have done another man of the species of man an injury, and another man of the species of man has a lawful written legal claim against me, I cannot be lawfully detained. I have unlimited right. Consider this your written legal notice of fact. I am not a slave of your employer. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, defines free thusly: free, not subject to the legal constraint of another. A legal constraint is legislation. I am not subject to the rules and regulations of your employment contract. As a free man born in Canada, I cannot lawfully be constrained legislatively by anyone. To do so is a crime against humanity known as slavery. If you are actively engaged in enforcing public legislation against the free men of the state of Canada, then you are guilty of treason against your fellow countrymen. I am not a subject. A subject is a slave. As a Canadian, freedom is my birthright. Generations of my fellow countrymen paid the penultimate price and laid down their lives to keep the people of this country free. In case you have difficulty understanding what free means, please read the legal definition again. It is my sacred duty as a free Canadian to defend my birthright. The Corporation of Canada that you work for is not a lawfully constituted government. It is a de facto government and foreign-owned corporation. Read your own criminal code under section 15 to confirm that you yourself, concern for you yourself that no one can be lawfully convicted of violating any of your legal rules and regulations. You are an armed mercenary in the pay of a foreign corporation. You throw away your children's birthright in your ignorance for your paycheck. If you are here because of an anonymous complaint or anything else, you are hereby lawfully informed by this legal document that your investigation process is neither lawful nor legal, and you do not have my permission to question me. I am not lawfully required to prove my innocence. If this is an interdict, arbitrary detention, or anonymous complaint that are constantly being directed towards us, please provide the following. Number 1, your legal identification furnished by your employer so that I can sue you in your unlimited capacity. Number 2, a written legal document outlining the complaint and the name of the complainant. As a free man born in Canada, I am presumed innocent and allowed to face any accuser. As a free man born in Canada, I have unlimited rights and am self-governing. I do not have an employment contract with your corporation, and I am certainly not lawfully constrained by your public employment contract constitution. I hereby specifically negatively aver in writing any and all authority that you are assuming over me as a free man. I hereby specifically negatively aver in writing any and all assumptions you are making. You are a public employee and legally required by law to furnish me with the documents I have legally requested in writing. Not complying with this written request is a criminal code violation, and I have the lawful right to defend myself against anybody committing crimes against me. An anonymous complaint is a criminal code violation known as public mischief. Public mischief occurs when someone causes a peace officer or other public servant to unlawfully enter into the investigation of another person or respond to a fraudulent misrepresentation. Being presumed innocent means that I am not lawfully required to furnish any member of the public with evidence of anything or to prove my innocence. If you have a legitimate complaint, you will already be in possession of physical evidence and the proper legal documents. Otherwise, you are aiding and abetting criminal activity. The lie of an anonymous coward is hearsay. Hearsay is not lawful evidence of anything other than the criminal code violation of public mischief. I have a right to privacy. And this is the simple document that I have made to give to public servants. So the public servants understands they should read their own constitution here in Canada. Section 52 of the Constitution says it's the supreme law of Canada, and all laws fall underneath the aegis of it. So if any laws that are made out that are not in compliance with the Constitution, then they're simply not lawful in this country. Schedule B of the Constitution is what they call a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. As a free Canadian, I have unlimited rights and freedoms. I am constrained only by my own sense of morals and ethics, and unless I do another free man an injury, then nobody has any right to use the law against me. If I comport myself in a moral and ethical manner and do nobody an injury, I should never ever be stopped by a peace officer or come abreast of the law. And this is the crux of all of this. You see, the constitution of this foreign corporation called Canada is the employment contract of the public, and enforcing public laws on the private citizens of this country is a crime against humanity. It's known as slavery. We, the private people of this country, sovereignty is vested in us, not in the foreign criminal banker posing as the queen in this country. I specifically negatively aver any assumption of authority that criminal has over me, and I do not believe one word of the book of lies that she passes out in this country either. The Constitution of Canada starts out with a preamble recognizing the supremacy of God and the rule of law. I do not recognize the supremacy of God. God is your own private imaginary friend. Now, when a child has an imaginary friend, we think it's cute. and it's an indication of an evolving intellect. But when an adult has an imaginary friend, we realize that they're a little psychotic and delusional. So what is it when this foreign group of adults with the same imaginary friend comes over to our country and they unlawfully form a corporation and they write into their corporate constitution the recognition of their imaginary friend, and then hire our fellow countrymen to run around in flak jackets and guns and point them in our face and allow us to enslave us right in plain sight? Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your freedom. Freedom is your birthright, and your fellow countrymen have laid down their lives. They've paid the penultimate price. Now stand up and be a man, and don't lose the birthright of your children and your grandchildren. Peace, y'all. I do love you. Stand up for what's right.